Hello, everybody. First, I want to apologize for the long delay between my recordings. Excuse me. Just had a few rough days. All's good now, and I'm happy to be back doing what I enjoy quite a bit, building some Warhammer and rambling. So I have the Indomitus Assault Intercessor squad. Excuse me. We have 2 sprues, I believe. These are identical. So I'm just going to set one aside and build a full set of 5, which is the minimum assault squad size. Excuse me. I've also got 3 Space Wolf heads set aside, as this is what I'll be building them for. I have 1 of the Forge World 30k heads, which I cannot recommend enough. If you want to add some zest to your army, check out the Forge World 30k line for unique heads. All right, I've got my Exacto knife, my clippers, and my trusty plastic glue. Let's open this up. I'm going to turn a fan on as usual so I can blow those fumes out of the way. And we will get started. All right, I gotta say, the instructions for these guys make them look like they're really cool. You can really get a good feel of the pose and how dynamic they are just by looking at those instructions. So I'm going to do as many of these guys without helmets as possible because that is a Space Wolf way. And I love the Space Wolves. Let's clip out, as usual, or as what I'm trying, all the pieces needed, clean them, and then start gluing. All right. And I do this recording a little bit later. I'm sure most of you will see it tomorrow morning because I upload overnight. Uploading just completely destroys my bandwidth, and no bandwidth makes for an unhappy wife, and honestly an unhappy me. I can't stream shows or anything. So, where I was going with that long, random, rambling message is I got to play a small social distance game of Warhammer, 1,000 points incursion against an old friend who I haven't seen since the pandemic started. And it was great. What I took away from that is Firstborn Marines, or as some people call them, Squatty Marines, are just, oh, they're so bad. He ran almost exclusively Old Marines because that's what he got painted, and he loves them. And he played Blood Angels, and I ran a little mix of both. In that mix was a unit of 5 Assault Intercessors. You can't exactly change what they have. My champion had a heavy bolt pistol instead of this really, really cool plasma pistol arm. It's a robot plasma pistol. And I've got a lot to say about this and how much I love it. But the Indomitus stuff is really awesome. Outriders were great. These guys didn't get out until, I think, turn 2 they got out, but they only ended up punching a vehicle, which didn't do too much. The big winners were probably the Outriders. They're very fast, high threat, and they have an embarrassingly large amount of attacks on the charge. Please, excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they get a bonus 3 attacks each. Where these guys, they only really get the 1 from Shock Assault, which is a little surprising. Of course, they do get the bonus attack for having a Chainsword, but right now, as is, I don't know if Assault Intercessors are worth it when compared to normal Intercessors. The extra attack nets you, well, 5 to 10 more attacks. Here we go. And you can't take a Thunderhammer or a Power Fist. And at the end of the day, they do all the heavy lifting. But in the combat doctrine, 3rd turn, they did serious work. Getting that AP2 made a lot of difference. So far, it hasn't been bad on mold lines, but you can see on the side plating, we've got kind of an odd one. It's almost more of a bump than a line, and I'm going to see if just my traditional backwards scraping works on this. If you're crazy perfectionist like I am with some of my characters, that technique does work, but it leaves a flat, slightly rough edge. So I'll try to smooth that out with some lighter scraping. Anywho, really fun game. And I gotta say, I really like the new Primaris stuff, and these guys look amazing. So here we have everything. I'm gonna use this head, but I'm not gonna use it on the Sergeant. The Sergeant is gonna get this bonkers dude. So Assault Intercessors, pretty dang cool. I'm really hoping and expecting when the full kits come out to see some really bonkers stuff. Okay, here's an odd part. We have a helmet mag locked to the belt and just a big gap right there. Oh, sorry. Let's see if I can fix that fan sound if you could hear it. Oh, yeah, and if you hear weird squeaking, it's my cats. They missed me. All right, so let's see. This part, this little curve, will snugly fit in right here. And it takes a little bit of force, honestly not much, and it's a really snug fit. What you want to look to align is the inside, because the belt does stick out a little. And if you try to align the belt so it's flush on the outside, it's going to leave a gap on the back, and it's not going to assemble properly. So really, if you just kind of smush it in, you want that inside edge to line up. That's a really easy piece to dry fit too. It comes right out. There's no pegs involved. So I'm just going to take the glue. Oh, I might have forgotten to unclog it. There we go. And put just a small amount on the back and the top. And pop it in there. And it goes in really nice. I'm a sucker for stuff mag locked on models. When I try to do it, it looks ridiculous. Like, just bam. Oh, there's a plasma pistol on his leg. What's that doing there? Or whack. It just looks out of place. But when Games Workshop does it, they do a dang good job. Okay, next, we should be putting the head in. But I'm going to skip that step on this mini so I can use my own head. Instead, I'm going to assemble the front. And I'm kind of rough dry fitting almost, so I can look to see where the contact points are. I'm going to get the inside and around the peg and try to hit a lot of these contact edges just for a little extra. And nice, smooth fit. That was good. Whoops. Oh no. So what I just did is I kind of slipped and pushed on that helmet, and it popped out. But if that happens to you, it actually goes right back in really easily. I am seeing that I missed a little piece of slag. So I'm going to trim that. I'm also noticing a bit of a gap right there. So I'm just going to squeeze and hold for a few seconds. And ramble a bit. Sorry to gush and ramble. It's been a long time since I played Space Wolves, or really any 40K that wasn't in Tabletop Simulator or against myself. I've got a huge collection, and sometimes I just want to roll dice. But I got to Lone Wolf a Terminator Sergeant with Thunderhammer, and when the Assault Doctrine came around, he did work. He became a character. I used Touch of the Wild. He ended up rolling 3 6s to hit out of 4, and the 4th was a 4. Oh, it was bonkers. He did so much damage. So next, we're going to put on part of the breastplate. This is kind of cool. You can see right here, it's got little indents where the Aquila fits in. So I'm going to put a little drop of glue on that. And then gently press in. Oh, wow. Yeah, when I popped that out, I did a number on it, it doesn't want to stick in there. So yeah, I accidentally, while trying to squeeze this together and get rid of that gap, which I don't know if that was me applying it improperly. I'm going to try a little bit of glue right there and just wipe with my finger and wipe that off on my hand and hold it. But yeah, just kind of yanked this out. So I'm going to let it dry for a second and clean up a few of these mold lines. All right, that seems about right. Ah, I didn't clip his power sword out. It's always something, isn't it? Power sword 6. The Astartes chainswords are really cool. I don't know if everyone's going to get them, but that little extra AP is pretty nice. There we are. And I think I've got one somewhere here. I don't know if I already did or not, but to demonstrate the size difference in a normal chainsword, and an Astartes one, I'll dig one up when we're done building and show off that it's a, oh hey, here we go. A slight increase in size. Here's a Space Wolf sword next to an Astartes one. Dang it. Here we go. You can see that it is ever so slightly bigger. So if you want your chain swords to look less bland and your models come with fancy, Space Wolf ones, Dark Angels, whatever you choose to use, you swap these bad boys out. I don't think anyone's going to complain. And you can cut it kind of at the base there, maybe pin it, or try to cut off the hand. I might give that a shot later if I start doing like a Joe converts it instead of Joe builds it. All right, I'm gonna pop on this chain sword. Speaking of power swords, it'd be awesome if these guys could have them, but that'd kind of step on the toes of Blade Guard veterans, wouldn't it? Get that nice charging look. Plasma pistol with awesome irresponsible robot arm. So this arm is awesome. I love all the detail in it. I love that you can see all the little tendons for the hands. Can't really get a good look, but there's little itty bitty finger nubs. It goes up to the elbow, so this guy had maybe up to the shoulder, but he's armored down to above the elbow and then robot. What I love about this is, in practical usage, if you've got a prosthetic and you're in armored combat, you're probably going to put armor over your prosthetic. But this dude was like, no, just show it off. It's okay. Let twigs and dirt and everything get in there. I can handle it. What's even cooler is I like to imagine that he was using a plasma pistol in the past and it got hot and blew his arm off. So instead of saying no more plasma pistol for you, they just said, here, have a new arm. All right, slide this guy in the peg, and he has a very dynamic pose. For me, that is the main reason to bring these dudes. And I forgot the backpack. Man, I am sorry. Jeez, I gotta get it together. All right, 14. Cool thing with the backpacks, they're all pretty much identical. So if you want to batch build these, you can clip all the backpacks out. If you want to go real crazy, and I might do this with another video, I still have to do the Scorpec dudes, Scorpec destroyers. But later, with this other sprue of Assault Intercessors, I might show off how easy it is to kit bash these guys and how much freedom these have for an easy build set. Okay, so here's that head I wanted to try. That looks good. It's great. They've got a little indent for existing heads. So if, where's my other glue? Here we go. I gotta switch over to the Gorilla Glue because Games Workshop and any plastic glue doesn't play well with Forge World resin. And my glue of choice is, I think as I've mentioned, the Blue Cap Super Glue by Gorilla. I'll plop that on there. Hold it in place till that glue gets a little hold, and then I'll let it naturally dry instead of using any accelerant this time. And do I want him to look in the direction of the sword? I think so. Looking at that from that angle, I think his head could be a little lower. If he was looking straight, he'd be fine, but because he's looking up, I'm going to take that out, wipe it down on a tissue, and then just clip off the bottom of the base of the head. Reapply a little bit of super glue. There we are. Whoops. Give that another shot. That's a little bit better. Yeah. Excellent. I love it. These little conversions and little pieces of unique personality. Let's see if I can set these guys right here. That we can give our minis is a huge part of why I like this game. Because sure, I'm building a model. And, you know, if people ask what my hobby is, I tell them model building. I like to model, build, and I like to play tabletop war games. But the truth of it is I like to model, customize. It's just harder to say that. It doesn't really sound as nice. That kit can easily be made as an alternative where it isn't the sergeant with a plasma pistol, where he's just another dude running forward with normal, what are these called? Heavy bolt pistols. Which I got my hopes up when I read that, and I thought it was going to be a strength 5 heavy bolter, because I love heavy bolters. Nah, it's just like an intercessor weapon, but a pistol. So 18-inch, strength 4, neg 1, damage 1, pistol 1. Alright, moving on over. We are going to do... Now I'm looking at the instructions for... Really? Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I was looking at the instructions because it looked like there were 3 spots to build the same Marine. But it's just that this kit has different variants. Huh, weird. I think it also gives you the instructions to build... Yeah, build them all. It wants you to build 1 of these and then 2 of the other one. Okay, so, sorry for that delay. I might edit it out. If I do, you'll never hear that. If I don't, it's because I'm lazy. All right, so we got the backpack. Check. A21. I've only got 2 more heads. I'll go ahead and take that sergeant head and put it on this one. Okay. So of the Indomitus Space Marine minis, just to try to get a little conversation, because I really do like seeing all your comments, reading them, and responding to them. What unit do you think is the coolest looking? And which one do you think is the coolest on the table? And if you're a converter like I am, which one are you most looking forward to getting, if you haven't already, under your X-Acto knife and toolkit? I think that the Assault Intercessors were the ones I was most excited about, just because of the poses and the simplicity of converting them. Where the Blade Guard veterans are the ones I think are the coolest looking. And I'm excited to work on them, but man, that's going to be a lot of work. And then the Outriders. It was the Eradicators, but the Outriders are the ones that I think are just fantastic and going to be great on the table because they're so durable. And they have so many attacks. They're bonkers. And a 23. Here we go. All right, let's clean these up. Look for some mold lines. I gotta go back and drill all these barrels out. No mold lines on that guy. Easy clipping. A little bit of a mold line on top of the, there we are, power pack. Let's get that head back. I think on the first one I forgot to trim off extra slag on the tips of the pegs, which is very important because sometimes the pegs are designed for the exact length. If you have an extra millimeter of slag on the tip, it might not go in all the way. A few people online have pointed out on at least the Outriders that there are these little nubs, and you can kind of see these little nubs at the end of the chainswords. I think I might have pointed them out on the Outriders and just accidentally sliced them right off, so watch out for those. Honestly, I got no idea what it's supposed to be, but it adds a little something to it and gets rid of the monotony of a solid line. Whoa. Oh man. I clipped that way too close. Ooh. Gave him a little battle damage, huh? Aside from that, he's alright. Already got you. Scrape off some old lines. There we go. I really want to 3D model and print one of these things. They are awesome. I think I've seen a few people do them, like on Thingiverse or whatever, but there's something special about when, you know, you build something, it's your conversion. This will be my heavy bolt pistol. So who knows? There might be a Joe converts it. If you're really interested, maybe I'll record some of my 3D modeling and printing for Joe prints it. All right, let's start with this leg. Let's see if this will... It's snug, and if you look on the inside, you can see where it's supposed to fit. So where I watched how it went together outside, if you can hold it right, try to look from the inside, because you can actually see where the peg hole goes in. You can see all the edges where the gaps will be. There we go. So that's simple enough. Now again, we get to a point where we just pop these together. And the instructions on all of these have the head on the back. And should be fine. So what I'm looking at right here is this little point on the front. There we go. You can see where that point fits. And I believe that's one of the things that keeps each head kind of unique, is where this one just has kind of a point. The one that would go for this kit has almost a box set. So do little bits of plastic glue all around on the peg slots as well. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place the head on, and then I'm not going to wait for it to dry. I'm going to apply the body as quickly as I can, press it tight, and then check the head for wiggle room. And I can see that's pretty snug, but I do still have some freedom in rotating it. So if I wanted to, because I'm using a different head, I could rotate to look completely away from whatever he's charging it. But I'm not going to do that. That'd be silly. I'm going to try to have him looking straight forward, or yeah, really he should probably look at what he's shooting, which onto the gun arm. It always throws me for a loop when the peg goes up into it instead of straight into it. One of the things I did on the set I already built for myself is I built all the bodies without heads or arms. and then I clipped all the pegs off. And I took all the arms and just kind of held them on and checked out what fit. It was pretty fun, and it led to a few awkward-looking Assault Intercessors, but the rest of them were unique, and they were mine. Alright, there we go. Awesome. So awesome. And I like these have 1, 2 ammo pouches, grenade pouch, huge, oh my gosh, I can't think, I wanted to say sheath for the gun, holster. This is my gun sheath. It's Final Fantasy has gun sheaths. And, oh, that went in real easy. That was a pleasant peg. And lastly, probably the easiest part of all of this, the backpack. I like that with these ones, you slide it in, wiggle it a little, because there's just an extra fraction of a millimeter indent where the backpack rests on the back of the Marine. I know that in past ones where the backpack was just a single peg, I'd screw up and end up with like a curved one. What was that? One of my cats is jumping around. All right, 2 down, 3 to go. That head is in there. Next up, let's do a helmeted guy. Let's follow this one to the T on the instructions. So we're going to use head 17. And let's see, this one is 15 through 20. $15, $16. Do a Sesame Street style building. $17. What did I already clip 17? It helps if I know what the bit looks like. I did clip 17. That's the head. I even said it. All right, man. The swords, even though they're only a little bit bigger, they look pretty dang cool. All right. 18. And 20. All right. The one spot where it doesn't really matter if you clean it is the bottom of the head. There's enough extra room inside that just give the head a once over, look for some mold lines. I doubt you'll see any. The heads are done pretty dang well. Let's get these guys over here. There we are. When I'm doing converting and building, it sounds really dorky, but I like to have all the minis I'm done with kind of supervise and watch as I add to their units. Usually not this close. I was trying to keep them on camera. I've got all sorts of room on my desk, but it's a pit. Maybe I'll show off my desk one day that it is not horrifyingly covered in random bits, minis, and embarrassingly cat hair and loose paints. What the heck was that? Sorry, heard a weird thump. It was the laundry and a cat combined. Laundry made a noise, startled the kitty. All right, moving along. So I've got the little rule book that came with Indomitus, and I was looking through it for a little bit more lore on these guys at the request of a commenter, who, I'm sorry I forgot your name, I'll make sure to get it and mention you in the next video thanking you. Who suggested I talk about lore a little bit. And it pretty much just said hey, these are shock guys. And I guess there might be more. I need to do some more digging to find out. But it also kind of makes sense because Primaris, while they've been around for a while, don't really have, I want to say, the kind of structured lore inside each legion that like Blood Claws would have. If you don't know, Blood Claws are the recruit Space Wolves, where most chapters will train a Space Wolf as will train an up-and-coming Space Marine as a scout. You know, teach them the way, how to use bolters and everything, as they become a full-fledged Astartes, and then they slap them in battle plate. Space Wolves do it differently. They cram a gene seed in you by making you drink out of a cup, throw you in the basement. If you live through turning into an Astartes, just like full-fledged, no slow growth into it, just here, get in the basement, become a transhuman, and then after that, they throw you in I'm pretty sure it's after that, they throw you in the wilderness and say, make it back home before dinner. If you do that, you get some battle plate. So then you're some dude who's a space wolf, transhuman, and they throw you in full pissed off power armor, and they just let you go wild. And I like to think of Assault Intercessors are basically the Space Wolf Blood Claws. They have a rule, it's called Berserk Charge, where they get an extra attack on the charge. Which, you know, used to be really important. And then Shock Assault came out, so now Blood Claws get 2 extra attacks on the charge. And they have a Chainsword, so it's like 4 attacks each model. But then Assault Intercessors, I am going to be painting as if they were Blood Claws, which I know for a Space Marine, that's not much different. Really, it's just shoulder marking. But that's why I am trying to do yelling, mohawky, angry dudes. All right, there we go. Came out pretty well. And a few with helmets. Space Wolves don't like helmets because they need to smell the kill. That guy isn't as dynamic. He's definitely starting to lunge forward. 3 down, 2 to go. Let's clean off this a little bit. Ooh. I have been looking at the Crusade system more and more. I know that there's a lot of people who like power level and a lot of people who are vehemently against it. They just can't stand the concept or idea of imbalance that power might bring. And I understand that. You want a balanced game. Power has some inherent imbalances, but it's not as bad as it seems. I bring this up because Crusade is a power-driven system. You can do the standard 1 power equals 20 points, and you should be fine. But I will be doing 2 Crusades, one with my Space Wolves using points, and another with my Death Guard using power. And I just finished a Horus Heresy book whose name I can't remember. I think the Pharaohs. I think that's what it's called. Anywho, it's got a bunch of Night Lords in it, and they're fighting Ultramarines, and Night Lords are the most G.I. Joe bad guy villain ever. They are all Cobra, and oh man, what's his name? The metal face guy from G.I. Joe. Ugh, it's gonna bug me all night. I'll just pull up the live stream of G.I. Joe and watch it. But they all backstab each other all the time, and at first it was really frustrating, but then as I kept listening to it, it just got hilarious. So in my Death Guard one, I'm going to start with just a Bog standard Chaos Lord, maybe with a Power Fist or a Blight Sword, nothing fancy. I know it's power level, I could give him a Thunder Hammer and... wait, they can't take Thunder Hammers in Death Guard. Can they? I don't know. I could give him all sorts of crazy stuff because it's free, but I want to grow him. You don't start a story with a crazy, pissed off endgame dude. Iron Man didn't start off with the nano armor. He started off with like, I don't even know what it was called. His first suit, the one that, I guess Iron Giant looking dude. Iron Giant had more detail than that. Iron Giant's awesome. So, as the Crusade progresses, I'll give him upgrades. Unique Crusade relics, warlord traits, change his war gear out if he does well. If he does poorly, maybe have one of his followers, take him out behind the woodshed. And show him what it means to be a follower of Papa Nurgle. Which he will have a Foul Blight Spawn and a Plague Surgeon as his retinue of followers. And I'm really excited for it. Just to be able to tell a story with a bunch of named dudes. I'll start out with like Chaos Spawn, Poxwalkers, Cultists, and a personal guard squad of Plague Marines. And it'll be this brain fart. Chaos Lord of Death Guard who's gone off and pretty much trying to do his own thing like so many Chaos guys do by destabilizing a system by creating a Nurgle cult. And my Blood Angels are going to come in and try to stop him. So I got to get a whole bunch of like, oh, you foiled me, but it won't be the last time you've heard of Professor Pussface. Mwah! And, make everyone in the store really uncomfortable because I'm yelling like a crazy person. This is 7E, and it goes together pretty well. Sorry I forgot to mention there was a really big piece of slag right there. It's smooth, but it was a little difficult to get off. I'm kind of going out of order and just popping the backpack on now. As I do these, I get a lot more comfortable. The first ones went slowly, but then you get everything clipped off. Ooh, there we go. Missed another spot. And I think really, once you build one or two of these, you're good to just clip off pieces at random. See if it fits. There we are. But also they get a little bit easier. The first guy did have a lot of pieces compared to the rest. Oh no, put the backpack on too soon. There we go. Oh yeah, winding up for that swing. Check that out. Slice and dice. All right. This is going to be Crazy Hair Space Wolf. That head was actually in the old 3rd edition kit. Excuse me. It obviously looked a little bit different because back then there was a lot less detail. But I was pretty happy to see it come back in the 5th edition Grey Hunter kit. It's ridiculous, and I love it. There you go, dude. These guys in an impulsor with a shield dome. Nice. I was pressed for points in my game, so I couldn't bring a shield dome. Instead, I brought a heavy stubber and a Sky Talon heavy stubber. And it was a pretty nice, cheap, light gunboat. It got up close, unleashed a respectable amount of shots, survived a turn of shooting, and then unloaded all these guys. And a Primaris Battle Leader, who then got out and whiffed against a Sanguinary Cup dude. Ancient? I don't know. Cool thing with this is these are pretty much all leftover pieces. Sans ahead, maybe 2 or 3. So we get spare arm, spare chest plate. I don't know when you're going to use that. A bit for basing. Spare chainsword. Now, if you build it the first guy without the lieutenant. That's his chest piece. And his sword will go clipped here. He'll have a hand sticking out. And he'll be aiming with his heavy bolt pistol. So cool. Alright. This last one. He is going to be the balding old guy. With... Are those service studs? No. Good. Maybe it is. Oh, that's hard to tell. If it is, I'll whittle it off. Let's get rid of that. You can't have a service stud if you're a blood claw. That doesn't make sense. Though, there we go. Technically, Ragnar Blackmane was a blood claw, and then he was Wolflord. I know he went through like the Wolf Guard or Wolf Blade, but I don't think he has service studs. I'll have to whip out the model and take a look. That is something I'm very excited for, is the full kit of these. Whatever upgrades they can have, I'm excited. Intercessors went from, hey, here's one gun. Everyone was like, whoa, it's so cool. 30-inch rapid fire, neg 1, so good. And they blew our minds by giving us an assault variant and a heavy variant. What in the world are these guys going to get? Are we just going to get dual-wield chainswords, maybe? I'd be 100% on board for dual-wield chainswords. Chain axes, power weapons. I mean, the sergeant, you gotta give him the option to take a power fist or a thunderhammer, which I'm surprised intercessors do, because there isn't a bit in the kit. It just kind of surprises me that out of the blue, intercessors can take a thunderhammer or a power fist or a power sword or a hand flamer. I've never noticed that before. So I'm really excited to see what these guys do. I think someone mentioned that the Blade Guard are getting a multi-part kit. I've seen that the Eradicators are getting a multi-part kit. I don't know about Outriders, but I do know if you didn't get your hands on Indomitus, that they're going to be releasing new getting started boxes. Indomitus isn't coming back, but just like Dark Imperium had, what was it? First Strike and No Fear, we'll be getting sets like that in the upcoming weeks. I believe they previewed it on Warhammer Community, and they look great. So if you want to stock up on the easy build ones, then convert them later when we have the rules in, I think, October, which was that 2 months away? Then, I mean, heck yeah. I know that's how I started my Death Guard army, and it has just exploded. Heck, probably a third of my Plague Marines were Dark Imperium style Plague Marines, where I took pieces from the Plague Marine kit and just kit bashed them. I used my little baby saw. I think I've shown it off before. Cut the arm off, glued a new arm on, and it was good to go. Paint them all up a little different. And no one's the wiser. Okay. There we go. Yeah, instinct is like, hey, have all the swords pointing forward, but these are pretty dang dynamic. I have 2 pistols out. I only need 1. Get out of here, pistol. All right, and as usual, I put a little glue on the peg itself and a little at the base and rim. And this one has a lot of wiggle room. You could do a lot with this. There is a bit of a gap, but as I rotate it, I don't really feel a set spot for it to fit. So there's a little customization. I think we want about that angle. I'm gonna put it on the base, hopefully before that plastic glue starts to bond. Take a look at it straight on. I'm pretty happy with that. And then plastic glue, nice and glossy. Looks like enough to pop the head on. I'm gonna do a little more. I've learned that with plastic glue, more can be bad. because it kind of pools up and then doesn't dry quite as quickly. Oh yeah, that's a grumpy old man. Or it's a young man who just happened to, for some reason, shave his head but leave the sideburns. Maybe he lost a bet. Whoa, there we go. So that is 5 Primaris Assault Intercessors. Pretty cool kit. I absolutely love the poses. They're very dynamic, gorgeous. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of converting with these base kits. And what I'm most looking forward to is having them alongside my Ragnar Blackmane. All running around, crazy, angry, dynamic poses, face first into the enemy, and getting them all painted, hopefully to the level I do my other minis. Here we go. Ragnar would obviously lead from the front, but you know, you don't want to have a look out, sir. So there we go. Ragnar and his bodyguard. Not that he needs it. This dude threw a Spirit Magnus. Bam! Alright, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry for the long delay. I'll try to get doing these on a schedule. You all have a great night.